Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Alright, so I'm going to do a bit of the year in review, kind of covering a handful of cases that I covered a lot of here on the channel that were from this year, 2022, and then also discuss what's coming up in the new year for 2023. And as always, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments of the video. All right, so let's get to the first case I got on my list for this year's big true crime, well, in crime news, true crime and regular crime news. The big one is the Delphi case. Obviously, after almost 6 years, there was a big arrest of the suspect, Richard Allen, in the case of the unaliving of Abby and Libby. So let me pull up a bit of an article on it and we'll go over the case a bit. So this is the U.S. Sun. I kind of grabbed a few different places to, trying to grab some of the most recent coverages. They have the overviews of these cases here. So this is actually a very recent one. This is just from a couple days ago, because there is some movement in the Delphi case, and I'll be getting into that shortly as well. There's just been so much going on with Idaho, you guys, and of course that is definitely a part of the coverage of this little review. There's been some huge breakthroughs in the case, which we'll get into a bit. But as we know, Abby and Libby were unalived, almost 6 years ago in 2017 in Delphi, Indiana. And up till now, despite the fact that Libby took a video of the bridge guy, they had no suspect. No one. And this was one of the two sketches, obviously. And there was a screenshot of bridge guy. Okay, and here's a bit of the U.S. Sun's synopsis. Earlier this year, Allen was charged with the unalivings of the two teenage girls from Indiana. His bombshell arrest was the first big development in years in the 2017 cold case unalivings. Libby, 14, and Abby, 13, were found dead in the woods in Delphi, Indiana on Valentine's Day 2017, sparking a years-long investigation that nearly left the small town hopeless. However, the suspect was right under their noses, as it was revealed that Allen worked as a pharmacy technician at the local CVS and remained in the tight-knit community before he was implicated as a suspect in the unalivings. All right, so this is actually a pretty good article, because they're kind of going into what we might expect for next year. They're stating number one, another suspect. Prosecutors revealed in late November, following Allen's arrest, that there may be another suspect involved in the slayings. At the November hearing, Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McClelland argued against unsealing the case documents, claiming it would jeopardize the multi-year investigation. The prosecution apparently believes that Allen, 50, is not the only suspect in the case. We have good reason to believe that Allen was not alone. There could be other actors, McClelland said in court. McClelland also argued that if an unredacted affidavit was released, witnesses in the investigation could be harassed. After the hearing, Allen's attorney said that the revelation of a potential second suspect involved in the unalivings is news to them. If you read the probable cause affidavit, it does not mention anything about any other person, attorney Andrew Baldwin said, adding, that was news to us. And of course, we later on did get it, got it unsealed, redacted. And they have number two, cause of death mystery. The affidavit unsealed by a judge later revealed that an unspent .40 bullet was found between the bodies of the two girls. It appeared that it had been cycled through a pistol owned by Allen, a Sig Sauer Model P226. Allen voluntarily went to an Indiana State Police post on October 26th to speak to authorities about the recovered bullet, court documents showed. The 50-year-old suspect allegedly failed to explain why a bullet from his gun was at the crime scene, saying he never allowed anyone to use or borrow his firearm. One key piece of evidence that the police had previously released to the public was an audio recording from a video on Libby's phone. Police also released a picture of a man wearing a dark jacket and jeans. The affidavit revealed that when a man approached the girls, one of the victims mentioned the word gun. Close to the end of the video, the man is seen and heard telling Libby and Abby, "Guys, down the hill." Once the girls begin going to go down the hill, the video ends. The unspent bullet found between the bodies of the girls may have been ejected from the unaliver's gun after he racked the weapon to scare them, a former investigator on the case believes. Ex-FBI special agent in charge, Paul Keenan, who oversaw the Bureau's investigation into the unalivings for 2 years, spoke with the U.S. Sun following the release of the affidavit pertaining to Allen's arrest. He said, "What I think happened is he was giving the girls orders to do something, whether it was getting on the ground or whatever. He was giving them orders to do something and they weren't following them. Maybe they decided they wanted to fight or run, and in order to intimidate them, the attacker racked a round or recycled a round through the gun. He may not have realized there was a round in the chamber when he cycled it. It may have just popped out and landed on the ground. He either didn't know it happened or he couldn't find it after the unalivings. That's my guess. Racking a gun to scare someone is something that's done in the movies. It's not really done in real life, but I assume it would be enough to scare the girls of that age," he added. "I think it would scare anyone, actually." Well, I agree about that. If someone cycled their gun at me, pointed a gun and cycled at me, I probably would do whatever they asked too. And number 3, did anyone know about Allen's alleged crimes? In early November, Allen revealed in a letter written from jail unspecified safety fears that allegedly forced his wife to quit her job. In a letter where he begs for the mercy of the court, the former CVS worker explained that he and his wife were forced to quit their jobs, citing his imprisonment and his wife's personal safety. "We have both been forced to immediately abandon employment, myself due to incarceration, and my wife for her personal safety." He went on, she had to abandon our house for her own safety. What little reserve there is will fail to even maintain the original residence. Again, I throw myself at the mercy of the court. Please provide me whatever assistance you may. In a handwritten letter obtained by Fox 59, Allen begged for a public defender after his plans to hire a private attorney proved to be too expensive. The letter read, "I, Richard M. Allen, hereby throw myself at the mercy of the court. I am begging to be provided with legal assistance from a public defender or whatever help is available. At my initial hearing on October 28, 2022, I asked to find representation for myself. However, at the time, I had no clue how expensive it would be just to talk to someone. I also did not realize that what my wife's and I's immediate financial situation was going to be. Allen has pled not guilty to 2 counts of unaliving." A hearing about a gag order that was put in place is scheduled for January 13th, 2023 at 10 a.m. And then Allen's trial date is slated for March 20th of 2023. So his next trial date, well, court appearances rather, is January 13th. So I'm hoping that they have enough evidence. I agree about the probable cause affidavit. While it gave us a lot of information about the case, it didn't, it definitely did not implicate another suspect. That his attorneys were definitely correct on that. Um, I don't know where that came out. It must have came out later. I realized the probable cause affidavit, they don't need to put all their ducks in that basket, which obviously they don't want to do. They just need enough to convince, the grand jury that there's enough to bring a case against Richard Allen. So hopefully they have a lot more up their sleeve. And I'm hoping that the DA's office has that ready, and these girls can finally get the justice they deserve. So let me know what you guys think of the whole Delphi case in the comments. So that was definitely a lot of big stuff happening in the Delphi case in 2022. And of course, 2023 proves to be another big one on the horizon. The next one up on the list is the case of Eliza Fletcher. And I believe a lot of you guys are going to remember this one. She was the runner who was attacked on her early 5 a.m. run in Memphis and later found deceased. So let me pull up the bit of on that one to refresh everyone's memory. So this actually is pretty recent. This is November 8th, and this is from Fox News. This one is discussing because, as we found out, Cleo, the suspect, who is currently in jail for her abduction and unaliving, he had a previous R charge, and which was never prosecuted because they did not test the kit. So we're going to go through this real quick and just get the gist of the case to get you guys all up to speed. All right. So just to get you guys up to speed, for those that may not remember or just need a little refresher on the Eliza Fletcher case, Eliza Fletcher was a 34-year-old married mother of two. She was running near the University of Memphis around 4:30 a.m. on September 2nd when Cleotha Henderson allegedly violently abducted and unalived her. Police said Fletcher was abducted and forced into a GMC terrain. They also said a nearby surveillance camera captured the same GMC terrain within the area of the abduction 24 minutes prior to Fletcher being taken. Fletcher's body was found on September 5th around 5:07 p.m. in the rear of a vacant duplex apartment. Henderson was charged with first-degree unaliving and premeditated unaliving, among several others, for Fletcher's abduction and death. But records show he was no stranger to the criminal justice system. Henderson was later charged on September 8th with aggravated R and kidnapping for an alleged sexual assault from September 2021. An indictment obtained by Fox News Digital describes how Henderson forced himself on a woman back on September 21st, 2021, while armed with a weapon. He was also charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. According to a statement from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Henderson's DNA was linked to the alleged R just days after his alleged attack on Fletcher. Additionally, during a September court appearance, a Shelby County court judge called him a repeat violent offender. Months later, so basically at this point, they're trying to, I've been reading about this one. We need to do another update as well, separately on hers in the beginning of the year. They're trying to throw out that R case, and it's a huge, big situation with it. It is ridiculous. If they would have tested all those kits, I went over that on another video. And if you guys check out my previous videos on the Eliza Fletcher case, there were, I believe, thousands of backed up SAR kits. Basically, they were just sitting there. They're untested. So this guy who we're looking at right now, he should have been behind bars. He should not have had the opportunity to attack Eliza. There should have been no reason for him to have attacked her and assaulted her and unalived her and left her basically out there like nothing. So definitely our system, as we've learned, has many, many issues in the amount of kits out there. And it's not just Tennessee, it's all over. But Tennessee has a big issue with it for sure. Some states are worse than others, but I'm hearing there's backups in so many states. They just haven't tested them. And, that's not going to help keep other folks safe. And so this case, as far as her case, he's obviously hasn't gone to trial for Eliza's attack and unaliving. So that will hopefully be forthcoming. in 2023, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. And of course, they're trying to deal with that previous R charge that they did charge him with. So there's a whole lot of issues with that as well. I think he needs to have everything thrown at him. I have zero compassion for the guy. And from last I remember, his mother is still defending him. So I guess, you can't get through a mother's love. But he's like they said, he's a repeat violent offender, and he just needs to remain behind bars, period. And, keep other people safe. He's the kind of guy who he's been involved in criminal activity since he was young. There's no reason for someone like Cleo to be on the streets. There's just some people you can't rehabilitate, and he's definitely was one of those. So let me know what you guys think of the Eliza Fletcher case. And again, that's another one that will hopefully be going to trial in 2023, and I will keep you guys updated on it as we hear updates on that. And the next case from 2022 is the Cassi Carli case. And then, of course, that's her right there and her ex, Marcus Spanavello, who is currently being charged with her abduction and unaliving. All right, so this is from WVTM 13. Marcus Spanavello indicted in Cassi Carli death investigation in Alabama. Hopefully you guys remember this one, but we are going through them, all these cases, in case you don't. It has been quite the year in crime, in true crime. Let's see. An Alabama man has been indicted on Tuesday by a St. Clair County grand jury after police say he was connected to the disappearance of his former girlfriend, Cassi Carly. Carly, 37, vanished on March 27th after authorities said she met Marcus Spanavello in a restaurant parking lot in Navarre, Florida, to exchange custody of their 4-year-old daughter. Carly's body was later found in a shallow grave inside a barn in Springville. Spanavello, charged with abuse of a corpse, was scheduled for a preliminary hearing Tuesday morning in St. Clair County. Instead, he was served with the indictment on the abuse of a corpse charge. The district attorney said the circumstances surrounding Carly's death are still being investigated. Spanavello remains in the St. Clair County Jail on no bond. So at least he's still behind bars. And this is a very sad case. Her daughter and his daughter, she lost her mother, and there's no excuse for that whatsoever. He took her during a custody exchange and decided to, just get rid of her, and for what? So we still don't know. He's not really talking. I don't believe he said much, and I know they want to throw the book at him. So hopefully he'll get more charges racked onto him in 2023. It just seems like it takes so long, and this one has taken a while, and it really has. And I know it's frustrated her family for sure. So this is yet another case that is going to roll over into 2023, and hopefully we'll have some court proceedings and further charges on Marcus, and get some justice for Cassie Carly on this one. So the next one up is the Kylie Rodney case. This was a huge one this year out of Truckee, California. And there's young 16-year-old Kylie Rodney. It's a very sad case, and despite the findings, I'm still not convinced that she had an accidental drowning. So let me pull up the bit of an article. So this is the U.S. Sun, and they are talking about Adventures with Purpose a bit in this one. Kylie Rodney updates. Autopsy results confirm death of missing teenager after body found in Prosser Reserve. I believe this one is one of the older articles. So, grab the date here. Okay. So this one actually was October, so it's not too old. So they have some questions still here, it looks like here. Okay. An autopsy conducted today So this is actually from October. So it's right after the autopsy and all that sort of stuff. Uh, okay. An autopsy conducted today on the body found in the Prosser Reserve confirmed the identity of Kylie Rodney. The Prosser County Sheriff's Office released a statement on August 23rd that read, "Today an autopsy was conducted on the deceased individual who was found in Prosser Reserve on Sunday, August 21st. The Nevada County Sheriff's Coroner has identified the decedent as 16-year-old Kylie Rodney of Truckee." So yeah, it was August, but this article must have been updated since, so that's why it's got the October dates. The Placer County Sheriff's Office and Nevada County Sheriff's Office are in communication with Kylie's family and offer our deepest condolences to them during this extremely difficult time. Volunteer diving team Adventures with Purpose claimed to have discovered the 16-year-old's body inside of her car at the Prosser Reservoir. I don't know why they say claimed. They actually did discover it. An investigation is still being conducted, and the FBI has offered to examine the SUV, and California Highway Patrol is leading the investigation into the collision. Kylie disappeared around 12:30 a.m. on August 6th near the Prosser family campground in Truckee, California. So here is the cause of death here. A statement from law enforcement on Thursday read, "The Coroner's Division of Nevada County Sheriff's Office has ruled the death of Kylie Mae Rodney as accidental. This ruling is based on the pathologist finding that her death was the result of drowning, and there was no other information to suggest she was the victim of foul play." Okay, so of course that goes on and on and on. Uh, I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue that that she didn't, but I'm still real suspicious of a lot of the circumstances, and I'm not pulling out anybody's name and all that. I'm not going that way. I'm just saying it. They didn't find any water in her lungs. They said that on the report it said her lungs were unremarkable. And normally, from what I've seen on an autopsy report from a drowning victim, they find water in their lungs. So why wasn't there water in Kylie Rodney's lungs? I mean, we may be able to explain the fact that she was in the back of the car, because they do say that's probable. When someone's trying to escape a vehicle, they continue to go to the back because I guess the vehicle goes, the backside would come up. But if she drowned, how was there not water in her lungs? And then she was found, what, like 50 something to 60 feet from the land of the reserve? If she truly went off and missed the turn and went straight into the water, and they did all those searches before AWP came out to do their searches, how did they not find her vehicle? Like I said, there's still questions to me, and I'm not playing. I'm not going to continue to draw it out, but this is one that definitely still, I'm still bothered by it to a degree. I just, I don't think that it's necessarily all that we think it is. And like I said, they actually still say the case is not closed. Last I checked, it was not closed, which is another oddity. But again, this was another big one that got everybody going this year. And regardless of what you think happened to the young girl, sad, young 16-year-old with her whole life ahead of her. And one night of partying, you know, that's the end of her life. So it's a very, very sad situation. And I do feel for her family and all her friends. But again, I just can't shake the feeling that something's weird about the whole thing. So let me know what you guys think of this one in the comments. Do you believe it was a accidental drowning, that she truly did drive her car into the lake and then couldn't get out because she was so drunk? So let me know what you think. Definitely I'm curious. The next one up is the Dylan Rounds disappearance and case. We still don't know what happened and where Dylan Rounds is. This one still baffles me as well. And this was another one that's got a lot of folks wondering what the heck happened to this young guy. Has his own farm out there and seemingly in the middle of nowhere, and he's just gone. So let me pull up the bit of an article and we can discuss this one. So this one is from the Cache Valley Daily, which I believe is a local. paper or online, as you say, out. And this is, of course, from October. There's not been a whole lot of updates on this one either. So this is another one I gotta see what's going on when we hit the new year. So this again is Dylan Rounds. All right, Box Elder County. Law enforcement is now considering the disappearance of 19-year-old Dylan Rounds as a possible homicide. Box Elder County Sheriff's deputies said James Brunner is considered a suspect in the investigation. Brunner, 59, lived in a trailer near Rounds Farm in Lucian and is in custody on federal weapons charges. So, as far as I know, he's still in jail and he's still facing these charges of federal weapons, and he's still a person of interest, a suspect in this case. Rounds disappeared on May 25th and is described as being 5'10" and 160 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing jeans, a dark shirt, and flannel jacket. So, of course, the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office has been working with a lot of agencies, including Weber County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and a bunch of others. And his mom and his dad have been very spoken out, which is really great because this case I think would have started to disappear without their vocalization. I'm still suspicious about it as well. I really think there was quite the foul play, considering that they found his boots, and his mom said that he never removes his boots, and he only has one pair of boots, and the pair they found were found on the farm, just sitting there. And then, of course, his truck was still there. They found, I believe they later on found his keys all of a sudden appeared. And then his seat was moved up. The seat, the vehicle looked like it was power washed. Again, there's so many oddities in this one. It's another one that I would love to find out what happened to Dylan Rounds. And I hopefully, again, we'll get more answers next year. But I don't know, did Brenner do it? He's definitely looks like, he could be the guy. He's got a lot of, past that's just not, you know, it's not clean at all. And that town to begin with there's not, a lot of folks that live out there. It's in the middle of nowhere, really. It's, he was doing his farm, and from what his parents say, he goes out and takes care of his farm. This was being his first big year with his crop, and then he would have come home. So, it's a very odd thing that, he would have walked off, and I don't believe that at all. And especially, he wouldn't have walked off and left his boots. Like, that has always been something I'm like, there's no way. I mean, everyone has their things, somebody doesn't go barefoot. You find all their shoes. They weren't taken, they didn't leave on their own volition. So I think, someone may have attacked him. Something definitely happened to him. And sadly, I think they're probably looking for remains at this point, and that's what they seem to be thinking. It would be great if they found him alive and well, but at this point, I just, hope they are able to get some closure for his family next year. So what do you guys think of the Dylan Rounds case? You got any thoughts on that? Again, let me know in the comments, and be yet another one that's taken over to the next new year. So the next one up is the Uvalde school shooting. This was horrific. And not only was it horrific because someone walked into this elementary school and attacked these children and their teachers, but the massive failure of the law enforcement, the police in Uvalde, it's it's beyond. So these are all the faces, all the victims that were lost that day, and I believe a lot of them could have been saved if the police were police, basically, if they did their jobs. Okay, so this is from People, and this is actually a fairly recent. Looks like they probably updated it recently, so it's been updated in December here, late December. Texas school shooting leaves 21 dead, including 19 children and 2 adults. Okay, so this is the updated on this one. Update, 21 people are dead. 19 students, a teacher, and one other adult are dead after a shooting Tuesday at an elementary school in Uvalde. Initially, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that 14 students and their teacher were gunned down in the classroom, but later Tuesday, Sergeant Eric Estrada at the Texas Department of Public Safety confirmed the death toll was 19 students and 2 adults. The shooter has also shot his grandmother, but she had survived the attack. So, yeah, he went and shot his grandmother, and then he went to the school. For those of you that maybe need a little fresher here. So, let's see. The shooter opened fire at Robb Elementary School at about 11:30 a.m. after abandoning his vehicle, and is believed police unalived him. So, it took them way too long, and it was horrific. And I went over this in multiple videos, and you guys can check out the previous video. I played a lot of the video that when he crashed his car and he went into the school, and all the cops just basically standing there, and they had children, adults begging for them to come save them. They were calling 911, calling out for help. And those cops, they just stood there in that hallway. They stood there and let children die. And it's horrific enough that you have a school shooting, but then you can't even have a law enforcement police team that can go out and do their job. Their job is to go out and protect and serve, and this department failed miserably. And if they can't do their job, they shouldn't have that job. And I know there's a lot of folks that have lost their job, and there's a lot going on in Uvalde, and they're going through all that. And it's a horrific situation all the way around. And I continue to feel horrible for all these families who lost their children. And while they may have lost some due to the shooter, I believe a lot of them really truly could have been saved if these cops would have not been so chicken, you know what, and just gotten in there and done their damn job. So I'm a huge supporter, and I back the blue, but Uvalde, I do not back these guys at all. I don't back them at all. They were all they're all chicken. They couldn't go in there and save these little children. They just sat there and they waited and they waited and they waited. It was the most horrible thing to watch play out when they released all those videos. It was horrific. And I pray and think about these families regularly, and I hope that they can somehow get some kind of solace, for all this, because obviously the shooter was shot, and he was dead. But these cops, who should not be cops, they need to answer for that. And they are continuing to have to answer to that to this day. So that's definitely one that rocked me in 2022, and I'm sure it rocked a lot of you guys as well. Any school shooting gets you. This one was it's like it was more horrific than any other because of the lack of police response. Pure lack of protect and serve on behalf of the Uvalde Police Department. Next one up is the Thomas Valva case. His father, or lack of a father, had his court trial late this year, and he's been convicted, and he's facing 25 years to life in jail. And that's him in the middle. I've covered this case extensively here on the channel, and I have a playlist just for Thomas Valva. And the ex-step monster there on the right, Angela Polina, she's going to trial next year. So I'll be covering that as well. Justice for Tommy is not over. So if you're interested in this one, this is a big case out of Long Island, New York. It's definitely not getting the national coverage it should. And if you have, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And I would really, if you haven't checked it out, please check out my playlist on this one. All right, so this is Newsday. They are one of about three, maybe four news outlets, and they're all out of New York that have been covering this case. It has gotten pretty much no national coverage at all. And he was the father. Like I said, he was sent to jail. He's been convicted. But let me go over the case a bit with you. If you're interested in seeing justice for this little guy, please do check out my playlist and do some research on this case, because it's horrific. It really truly is. So his father, he was sentenced earlier this month to 25 years to life in prison for the unaliving of his 8-year-old son, Thomas Valva, who died from hypothermia after the ex-NYPD officer forced Thomas to sleep in a freezing garage. So he was repeatedly, along with his brother, who are high-functioning autistic, they were forced by their father and their future stepmother, or as I call her, stepmonster, to sleep in the garage under freezing temperatures. And at first they were given mattresses and blankets and all that. Eventually they were sleeping on the bare floor of the garage. And the reason they had to sleep in the garage, because Thomas and his brother had issues with they were peeing their pants, wetting the bed. That's it. And they wouldn't feed them properly. They left them out there, and eventually this little boy, he woke up that morning. His father told the tale that he was going to the bus and he fell and hit his head, and that's why he called 911. But what really happened was he woke up that morning. He had wet his pants. His father took him outside in the freezing cold after spending the night in the freezing garage, and he had hit his head. He went out there and hosed him off with the hose. This boy died of hypothermia, and that's not even counting the bruising and the emotional, other physical abuse that he and his brother withstood. And they were eating out of the trash at school, according to teachers. Angela Polino, who's going, like again, I said, to trial in 2023. She's been accused of pushing, them down the stairs. These people are evil, in my opinion. The father is getting what he deserves. He's an ex-NYPD cop. CPS was told about all this stuff. The school tried to help Thomas and his brother, and Tommy even told the school psychiatrist and a CPS worker at one point. He told them what was going on at home, and he asked them for help flat out. They didn't do a damn thing for this kid or his brother. No one was willing to help them. The only one who was trying to help them, and her hands were tied in a lot of ways, is their mother, who basically left her. She wanted custody of her 3 boys, and he did everything in his power to keep these kids away from their mother. And he made it so she couldn't even see them at all. So she was trying to get, these boys away from him, and because of the fact that Michael didn't care about them and Angela didn't care about them, this little guy on the screen, he died of hypothermia. There's no reason that these children should have been treated this way, and it's horrific. And thank gosh, his father is going to have to spend the rest of his life, hopefully, in jail, thinking about what an a-hole, and yes, I'm saying that, what an a-hole he truly is, and everything that he did to his sons, both of his sons, and the fact that he took Thomas's life. And we can only hope in 2023 that Angela gets the same exact fate, that she has to think about, again, what an a-hole she is. These people are garbage. They're evil. Anyone who hurts a child, they deserve to be locked up and throw away the key. That's my opinion on it. But again, if you haven't heard of this case, because I know a lot of people haven't unless you follow my videos on the channel, please do check out this case. If you don't watch my videos, please look it up. like I said, it's out of Long Island, New York, and Angela will be going to trial. I believe her next court date for getting jury selection is in February. I'll have to look up that date, but I will be covering every single bit of this. We're getting justice for Tommy, and like I said, they got Michael, but they're not done yet. They got to go with that, and in my opinion, there's a lot more to answer for. CPS has to answer for it, and there's also a judge who gave Michael custody of these boys. But as we've seen in a lot of cases, CPS does a lot of stupid things, and they don't listen. I mean, Harmony Montgomery, who I was going to talk about in this, we'll mention her briefly right here. She's another one. They didn't follow much up on her either. You have, so CPS to me, they have so many fails. They just receive F's after F's on all their reports. That they fail so many children. It's very, very sad. It truly is. So this was again the Thomas Valva case, and 2023 is seeing his former stepmonster. She's going to be in court, and I'll be covering here. So please do check it out and let me know what you think in the comments on this one. Next one up is little Quinton Simon. This one got a lot of our hearts. This little guy on the screen, what an awful fate he had. Truly. Only solace we have for him, his mother is facing charges now. So the only solace that we have for little Quinton Simon is that his mother, Leilani, she's facing 19 charges in his death. 19 charges. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember the case, but we'll briefly go over it here. The mother of slain Georgia toddler Quinton Simon was indicted on unaliving charges along with a slew of other criminal counts, the local district attorney's office announced Wednesday. And this article is from, it's pretty recent because she's not been charged too long. So this was December 14th. Probably was when it was last updated. Leilani Simon is facing a 19-count indictment in the tragic death of her 2-year-old son. Chatham County District Attorney Shalina Cook Jones said the charges include 1 count of malice unaliving, 2 counts of felony unaliving, and 1 count of concealment of the death of another. Other charges stem from alleged false statements Leilani, 22, made to authorities. As your district attorney, I realize that this matter is really important to our community and also to inquiring minds, both here and beyond our community, that want to know what happened to baby Quentin and how it happened, she said during a press conference. That curiosity is not lost on me. However, there's more evidence that may be revealed during the course of this investigation, and I say that to remind you that this is still an ongoing criminal investigation. The slain toddler's mother was arrested last month and charged by police after the boy's remains were found in an area landfill. She was previously suspected by authorities as the person responsible for Simon's disappearance before his body was found. So definitely, Leilani deserves everything she gets. We don't still, we don't know everything, but they say that he was beaten. That's what we find out. He was beaten, and she obviously took him and she threw him away like garbage. She threw her little 2-year-old child away like garbage. It's sick, and as far as I'm concerned, she's an evil, evil person. And I'm really glad that Chatham County is on this one. Look at that face. Look at that face. Do you think she really cared about Quentin? I don't think so. I think that's the face of evil, pure evil. That's my opinion on it. And I hope she's got to think about every single horrible thing she's done while she sits there and stares at the wall in her prison cell. And we need to get justice for little Quentin. He was 2 years old. 2 years old, barely lived any of his life. And she took that from him. She brought him into this world, but she had no right to take him out of it. So I will be following this one again. This is another one, and it just sickens me to the core. And of course, her mother was recently in jail and got out before Christmas, but she's been really quiet since she got out, which is really good for Billy Joe because she was quite the loud one before. And they were saying there was some talk about what kind of charges she had, and they had to do with Quinton, but they were stating that they were sealed or what have you. And but I think she was in there for 10 days, and hopefully she learned something about that. I don't know how long that's gonna stand with her, but her daughter is pure evil, and I know she's got another son who's also in jail for unaliving someone. So sadly, it's a quality family that she's got going on there, and I hope this person on the screen, she sits there and rots the rest of her life in a prison cell. So, but let me know what you guys think of this whole one. This one, like I know, broke a lot of our hearts. It truly did. Anything involving children always breaks my heart, and how anyone could hurt a child, I just can never comprehend that ever, never. The Athena Strand case. This one also broke my heart. This little child was outside her home in her own yard when someone came to deliver a package to her home. And he took her and he unalived her. For what? Let me pull up the latest on this one. All right, this is actually from earlier this month. Sheriff says kidnapping, unaliving of Athena Strand was a crime of opportunity. So, of course, I completely believe that as well. So So to get you guys reminded of this one, I'm sure you guys do remember this one because this one just recently happened before the holidays here. FedEx driver Tanner Horner is believed to have kidnapped and unalived 7-year-old Athena Strand in a crime of opportunity while delivering a package outside of her home this week, Wise County Sheriff Lane Atkins said. Although Athena's cause of death hasn't been determined, we do believe she died by his hand. McKinn said in an exclusive interview with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. It does not appear the child was unalived by the FedEx truck, he said. Because remember, he said he hit her with his truck. He panicked. He took her inside the truck. She had just some bumps and scrapes and she was fine. And then he claims she told him, I'm going to tell my father. And so he decided to unalive her and then dump her body. This is what Tanner claims. So, and of course, Athena had been missing for about 48 hours when her body was found along the water's edge of the Trinity River near Boyd. And he did confess to the crime, but like I said, his story is not one that's believed. It's like he's putting enough truth in there, and the reason he took her life, I don't believe at all for a hot second that he hit her with his truck. And there's the awful monster right there. So I don't understand at all why these people do this. I guess, you can't understand evil when you're not evil. But this little girl was outside her home, and the ironic thing, remember, he was delivering a Christmas present for her that was meant to be for her on Christmas Day. That's what her mother said later on. So it's heartbreaking. Like I said, these cases just break my heart. It's But here they're definitely pursuing every single thing on him, and they do have the death penalty. So they're pursuing that on Tanner. And got to get justice for Athena Strand. Another one we're seeking justice for in 2023. And the last one is the Idaho Four homicides, which I've been discussing a lot here on the channel. And we know, thankfully, there was an arrest yesterday, Friday, and we went over that. But there's a lot we don't know. And this one definitely is got a lot to go. But these 4 young college kids were at home in their own place. Well, Ethan was there with his girlfriend, Xana. They were home after a night of having fun at the club, at the frat house, wherever they decided to be, and someone decided to come in and take their lives. And we're finding out this alleged person has a degree in criminal law, and he's a criminology PhD. So it almost appears that he has studied to become a unaliver. So he studied to become a criminal. That's a new one on me. And like I said yesterday, he gives me Ted Bundy vibes seeing him. So there's so much I want to know about him. And there was something that was brought up, since we're talking about this one, last night on one of the Facebook groups for the Idaho case that I follow. Someone mentioned, how we read that the suspect, Brian, is a vegan. And he's a very crazy anal vegan, but that's beside the point. But they state that he's a vegan, and someone decided to do a Google check for vegan restaurants in Moscow. And guess what they found? The Mad Greek came up. And I believe that's where Maddie and Xana worked. Is that maybe the connection where he met these girls at the restaurant in Moscow? Definitely is making me think. Because so far, I can't imagine where he would have met these people. He didn't even go to the University of Idaho. And he didn't live in the area. Yeah, it was 15 minutes away, but he truly, unless he was out in public, how would he have had contact with these four people? It doesn't make sense. He would have had to have met them somewhere, and something happened where, I don't know, did one of them insult him in some way and he decided to get back at him? I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and hopefully after his extradition appearance on Tuesday, hopefully he'll be able to be sent back to Idaho, and as soon as they do that, we will be able to find out more from the arrest affidavit, probable cause arrest affidavit, because like they stated, because of Idaho law, until he makes his first appearance in Idaho, they can't release that document to the public, to the media, nobody. So again, I'm hoping that he doesn't fight the extradition, because if he does, we have more waiting to do. But this one here still has me reeling, and I know you guys are as well. So, but these were kind of about 10 cases that this year, really rocked the true crime community. Of course, there's many others that are still ongoing. I continue to cover little Michael Monkey Vaughn here on the channel. He's still missing. We still need to bring Monkey home. Of a sad note, want to do a video on it. They found yesterday as well, they found little Lucian Munguia deceased in a body of water near the park. So sadly, and my condolences go out to that family as they deal with that for the end of their 2022, the death of their little boy. It's definitely not the resolution, the ending we all wanted for little Lucian. And we still have questions on Summer Wells. Where is Summer Wells? What happened to her? And of course, Harmony Montgomery is no longer with us, but what happened to Harmony? And where are her remains? There's just so many questions that I have from covering my first year here on the channel. It's it's hard to stop thinking about these people and these questions. So, but what do you think? Yeah, I'm hoping to hear you guys' comments. And did these cases get you in this year? If you got some other case that gets you, please let me know in the comments. And if there's anything you'd like to see me cover in the new year, please let me know. And again, I didn't cover a missing on this one here, but I'm gonna start doing, at least I'm gonna try to do 2 posters, I think, with every video ongoing in 2023. And please send me any missing posters if you If you have any, if you know anybody, please have them send me an email. I would love to help as many people as I can. Just get the word out, get their face and their name out there, and hopefully bring these people back home to be with their families, because you got missings from little babies all the way up to adults. It's the amount of missing in the United States alone is staggering. It's truly staggering. And until you start looking at it and seeing it daily, it's one of those things that you just don't realize at all. I want to thank you guys for a great first year here on YouTube and checking out my channel. And for those of you that have been supportive, I'm hopefully going to start doing some interviews next year. That's my plan. And of course, I'll be doing more, covering more missing, like I just said, and covering all these cases that are still open and going, so, and covering new ones. There's always something new. That's just how it goes. And I wish the best for you and your family, whether you're staying in tonight and, enjoying your New Year's weekend at home, which is what I'm doing as I record this this video, the last one of the year. And with that said, I hope you have a great one, and I hope you've had a great 2022, and a happy new year from here at True Crime with Shannon. Have a good one, guys, and most of all, stay safe.